So many people have been disappointed with the images we're seeing of the Gothic remake. Unfortunately, it seems that they have decided to pander to a modern audience instead of their established fan base because they've uglified characters, they have censored outfits, and while they're promising it's a faithful remake, the lie detector has determined that that is a lie, and they've been facing a lot of backlash over the past few days, and now they've made a statement, and it's not a good one. I have a few different things to show off, but before I get into the topic, if you enjoy the content I create, check out the links in the description, join the community in my live streams, and consider supporting through Patreon or YouTube memberships. Now, I've done a few videos on the Gothic situation, they will be linked down below, but this is just very disappointing to see. It's not the type of game that you expect women to be in turtlenecks, it's not the type of game that you expect stories to be watered down, and unfortunately, it seems that that is the case. A lot of these very revealing outfits that are worn by women who, yes, are slaves, are now toned down. These women's faces really don't resemble women at all whatsoever, and it seems that they really didn't take this faithful remake promise very seriously. It's plastered all over their marketing material, all over their webpage, all over the Steam page. It seems that they were really shouting it to the heavens when that isn't the case. And now, because they're facing quite a lot of backlash, they have decided to issue a statement in their Discord, and it's just really not a good one. I think that these teams need to think a little bit harder about what they're saying when it comes to if they're in the middle of a controversy. I don't think that they should react emotionally. They should think to themselves, how can we better our business? How can we make people trust us again? And this just doesn't seem to be pleasing anybody. So they said, at everyone, we wish to make something very clear. We are right now being accused of pushing a political or social agenda on our game. We wish to assure you that we don't have any agenda of any kind. Well, technically that is a lie, because the agenda of every single company is to make money, so they probably should have worded that a little bit differently, but whatever. Anyone claiming otherwise is just purely wrong, as proven by our extensive catalog of over 150 published games on Steam alone. Just because you've got the quantity doesn't mean you've got the quality. We are focused on making the best possible Gothic game, and everything we do has a reason in the game that will be made clear once you play. So that's a really bold statement, assuming that I'm going to play it. After these images, I have no interest, okay? I think it sucks that we are seeing another beloved title being modernized and ultimately being ruined. But there won't be any form of censorship or effeminacy. Some characters have different roles, but the main theme and plot remains the same. So they are saying the main theme and the main plot are the same, but yet they're changing roles of characters. That doesn't sound very promising either. When you are doing a remake, my expectations are you are making the graphics better, you're fixing any bugs or glitches or technical problems. You might be, yes, updating the gameplay a little bit so it feels smoother and more modern, but you're not changing the script, or you're just adding to it. You are not changing characters' plots and roles and personalities. Like, those should be a copy and paste. But if they're saying that characters are different, that means that you have altered it. And we can just see from these images alone that these characters that were once bombshells look completely different. How are you going to sit here and say there's no censorship when there very clearly is? I think that this was a very bad response for them to make. I just feel like they should have thought it out a little bit more. And because they didn't, man, does it look bad for them? Don't believe your lying eyes. Yeah, it's so funny to me that they're sitting here saying, oh, this isn't the case. The people online are lying, even though we literally see the truth. Not even acknowledging the criticism and feedback on something that is easily observable to everyone and which has been a reoccurring industry problem, very unprofessional and incredibly disrespectful. Honestly, I don't think they meant to make the faces look ugly. It's harder than you might think to model a face based off of a reference that's also rigged for facial animation. Both the men and women often end up looking like this. It's more noticeable on women, and I do like Ian, don't get me wrong, but at the same time, I just think that this is just a big excuse. I think that it's very tough to sit here and say, I don't think they meant to make the faces look ugly, and even if that is the case and that wasn't their intention, I think that they should probably just get better at their jobs. They're lying. Why did you change it then? Funny how they don't acknowledge the actual problem and just make excuses. We didn't make the women ugly because of politics. We made them ugly because we're retarded. No effeminacy. They just have the complete wrong way around. People are not calling out the feminization of men in the game. We aren't pushing any political or social agenda. We have eyes. Yeah, it's so hard to see this happening time and time again. And then seeing developers have the gall to straight up lie. They even say, once you play the game, you'll understand. I don't think a lot of people are going to be playing this game that are talking about it right now. Sure, maybe over the next couple of months or years, depending on when it releases, you'll be able to capture the attention of a few folks that don't know of the controversy. But I generally think that, yeah, a lot of people are going to be skipping this one. So first it was authentic remake. Now it's some characters have different roles. It's clear they're lying about something. The most simple answer is they tried to DEI and uglify the women, and now they're getting backlash over it, and they're trying to damage control, which is definitely true. There's no censorship. Also, some characters have different roles. Looks like they found a new way to excuse censorship. The best way to settle this is simple. Release the game and let players judge for themselves. I ain't paying for this. Hell, I ain't gonna pirate it either. The original is sitting right there in my library, and I'm sure fans are more capable of creating an authentic Gothic remake than any compromised dev studio full of people pushing an agenda they pretend isn't there. And over the past few days, they've stopped censoring people on their Steam forums, primarily because they've gotten so much backlash that they can't keep up with it anymore. But days and days ago, they were deleting a lot of threads, removing a lot of threads, and it's because of their head community manager. I did make a post on this, and I did talk about it at length again in another video. But yeah, I mean, they literally were on X complaining about the state of the video games industry, and they're completely ignoring the fact that power-hungry managers like themselves are running rampant on forums and purging them of any criticism, and they locked down their account. But they previously had said, so let me make this very clear to everyone, if you have real concerns about the models of our games, we are more than happy to hear from you in a constructive manner. This toxic hostility will not work, and I will purge the forums. And then they say, we've shown time and time again that we listen to feedback, so present your feedback in a constructive manner, and we listen. But yet they were deleting any criticism that they didn't like. Anyway, Asmongold had reacted to one of my videos on this topic. It has led a lot of people to the forums, and I'm really glad to see that so many people are speaking up, because it sucks for this to happen time and time again. Thank you for not catering to the male gaze. It's refreshing to see devs that respect its characters and its audience. It makes the game more authentic and genuinely enjoyable to play in, and it creates a world that feels welcoming and inclusive rather than exploitative. And they're farming the jesters. DEI garbage. I'm so proud of us gamers. Asmongold hates your game. Embrace your ESG, sustainability, DEI, and inclusion. Stop it before it's too late. And yeah, this doesn't have an established release date. They just said sometime in 2026. So maybe they could push it off by a few months, fix up the character models, change some of the outfits. Maybe they actually could listen to us and implement our feedback. But I just don't think that that's going to happen, because how many times has that really happened? The example at the top of my mind is just with Lords of the Fallen, though I will be keeping my eye on this. I'm curious to see if anybody else on the project makes any other statements, if they attempted to damage control, but we do now know that the Gothic devs have made a response and it's not going over particularly well. But that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comments below. If you found this important and informative, make sure to give it a like, share it, and subscribe to the channel. And if you didn't, give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I'll talk to you all again in the next video really soon.